Hello and welcome back to another video on the HP Prime GDC tutorial series. In this video, I'll be talking about the Finance app. Without further ado, let's start. The Finance app has many modes to choose from. This video will cover TVM, time value of money. This is where you solve all the compound interest questions. To open, press Apps, then press Finance. This is the symbolic view where you will choose the mode. So since the video focus is TVM, so I'll select TVM here. So now press the number view here, and this is the main screen that you will use. There are many things here, but don't worry, some of them are not really used in the basic compound interest questions. So anyways, I will explain each of them now. So firstly is N, which is the number of payments. So usually it can be number of years, but also can be number of months, depending on the compounding period. PV is present value, which is basically the principal value or the starting value. PMT, don't worry about it, just leave it at 0. And then FV is the future value, which is pretty self-explanatory. So this one is interest rate per year. So you need to input this as percentage. So let's say if the interest rate is 5%, then input 5. If it is depreciation, like 3%, then input -3. For uh, number of payments per year, so you leave it at 1. So don't worry about this one. And then for C/year, this is the compounding period per year. So if it is compounded per year, then input 1. If it is compounded quarterly, then input 4. Compounded monthly, then input 12. The end here, just leave it as tick, and the group size, don't worry about it. It would change as you change the values on top. Note that present value and future value have some rules in this calculator. So one of them must be inputted as a negative value. So let's say uh, the present value is $5,000, then I will input the present value, which is 5,000 here as a negative value. So that is negative 5,000. If I input this as a negative value, then the future value will be output as a positive value. In some cases, if you need to solve for like number of payments, then one of them must be a negative value. If both of them are input as a positive values, then the calculator will run into error. So let's do an example question. So John invests $20,000 for 3 years at 2% compound interest rate, which is compounded annually. So find how much money he will have after 3 years and how many complete years will John need to invest the $20,000 until the investment reaches a minimum value of $30,000. You can solve both questions yourself. I will go through them in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So for question A, so we know that the principal value is $20,000. So I input a negative 20,000 in the PV box. For this question, the negative rule doesn't really matter, but it will matter in the next question. Anyway, so he puts for 3 years, so I input 3 into the end box here. So I interest rate per year is 2%, so it's 2. So P/year is 1 of, and then C/years, the compound payment per year is 1 because it is compounded annually. So all done here. So now select FB and press solve. So the future value is $21,224.16, which will be rounded to $21,224. So if your present value is positive 20,000, like this, and if you select FE and solve, you will get the negative version of the future value. So anyways, 21,224 is the answer for question A. For question B, it asks when John will have at least $30,000 in the investment. So we put 30,000 in the FB box. So we want to find the number of years to reach this amount in the investment. So we will select the N box. So no need to change the value here, and we'll press solve to get the answer. But like here, if both PV and FV are positive values and we press solve, it will run into error. So acknowledge this, and then so now we need to change one of them into the negative value. So let's change PV into negative 20,000. So now let's do this again. Select the N box and press solve. So I get 20.48 number of payments, and since it's compounded annually, so it's 20.48 years. But since the question asks for number of complete years, so we round up to 21 years. This is the answer key for the question just now, so you can check if you got it correct. That's all for this video. If you have any feedback or suggestion, please feel free to comment down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.